What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Cisco and Mike podcast. Today we have an artist, an illustrator, an event producer. So he's throwing people off the top rope with his La Bulla. He's throwing, bringing down the house with his house issues. And on the Halloween, the Dia de los Muertos, he's got his Velorio event. We got Antonio Pelayo in the house.
Antonio, welcome.
Thank you for having me, guys.
No, thanks for coming out. You know, Sunday, rainy day.
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad today. It's actually a nice day.
It's a nice day. Yeah,
It's a
chill.
change.
Yeah.
But you're coming from Pacoima, right? You actually, I had read a story. It's actually pretty interesting. You were born in Silmar, right?
No, Glendale.
Glendale, sorry.
Glendale.
Glendale. And then you moved to Mexico? And then you grew up over there?
Yep.
What part of Mexico did you?
In Jalisco.
Jalisco,
In a
okay.
rancho called El Palmar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were born here and you were raised over there.
Born here, moved to Mexico in '79,
Okay.
and stayed there till '89.
Okay, so 10 years.
Yeah.
So pretty much your childhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it's a crazy story. We were sent over there by my dad.
Okay.
My mom became a Jehovah Witness like in '78. And then by '79, my dad didn't want my mom to continue studying with the witnesses. So he gave her an ultimatum. He's like, you either stop studying with them or I'm going to send you guys to Mexico. Because they have a house in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, one day, my mom woke us up. She's like, pack your shit. We're leaving to Mexico. And I was like, all right, cool. Because, I used to love going to Mexico. And then I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're going to go on vacation. But
Yeah.
no, it turned into 10 years. So his idea was to send us to El Rancho where everyone's a Catholic. Yeah. And his idea was, you know what, with the pressure of the family, she might come back to being a Catholic. And instead of that happening, my mom became a stronger Jehovah Witness.
Gotcha.
She pretty much recruited a bunch of her family and a lot of people.
She kind of expanded it over there.
Yeah, she did.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like I've never heard of like Jehovah's Witnesses in Mexico.
Yeah. But it's crazy because it's like he said, his dad sent him over there to abolish it, but instead it just fucking grew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's a passion or something, you just, when you find your passion.
So what made you guys come back after 10 years?
Well, the idea was one day my mom and my sisters, they were going to come visit my dad. That was the plan. She was going to bring my sisters and visit my dad for like a month or two during summer.
Okay.
And I was going to stay over there because we have a ranch and we have all kinds of animals. And I was going to stay and take care of all that. But the night before, when everybody was packing, everybody started crying. And my mom was like, yeah, you know what, forget this. We're taking you with us. So, yeah, I came with them. And then once we were here, like, we never went back.
Gotcha.
Like, my sisters didn't want to go back to Mexico. Okay. So we just stayed.
What was it like? Like, you're going from here, you kind of learn the U.S. life, go to Mexico. It's completely different. Yeah. Ranchos, you're to small towns. I guess the family dynamic is different. And then coming back.
It was hard. Especially because you're going into a territory where you're looked at like, oh, you don't belong here. You're a Jehovah Witness. Yeah, I know that you're from here, but like we're all Catholic here.
Yeah.
Like people, Jehovah Witnesses get persecuted in Mexico. They even get killed.
Damn.
Yeah. So we were constantly persecuted by even friends and family. And on top of that, in school, as a witness, you don't salute the flag. You don't participate in none of that. You don't participate in any celebration. So all the kids look at you like, oh, like you're weird.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. And then on top of that, as a witness, you have to go out and preach. You got to go knock on doors.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part about the whole thing. We don't really like to get to get bothered on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Especially someone that wants to recruit you into a religion that, people hate.
Yeah.
In Mexico, a lot of the houses, especially in the small towns, they are given this sign to put on their doors, and the sign says, this household is Catholic, and we do not accept anything other than being a Catholic. So don't bother us.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
But as a witness, we have to go, and that's our job. Their belief is that God put us here. God put the witnesses here on earth to recruit more witnesses.
Yeah.
So that when God ends the world, the survivors are going to turn this planet into a paradise. That's God's goal. That's what they believe in.
Create heaven on earth.
Yeah, exactly. So their obligation is to go out there and preach and recruit people. And that's what we did. And so that part is really hard because people reject you constantly. They slam doors on your faces. They call you names. They unleash their dogs on you. People come out pointing their guns at you, like, get the F out of my house.
Yeah.
Don't ever knock here, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of stuff, yeah.
That's crazy because, he said something that resonated. That sign, you seem pretty surprised to hear about a sign that says,
I've never seen it.
Este hogar es católico, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
My mom used to have one of those.
I see it inside the house.
No, afuera lo ponen afuera.
La puerta.
So that if somebody knocks, because it's just not, I'm assuming here it's not just for Jehovah Witnesses. It's for the Mormons, because there's other religions that come and knock, right? Mm-hmm. So entonces, I remember growing up, seeing the sign outside my mom's house que decía, este hogar es católico, blah, blah, blah. And it was to deter from people from knocking. But people still knock. But it's just crazy to hear how, I know you were kind of surprised that was happening, but in Mexico, I would see why, and then just the fact that guns and dogs, and I was like, fuck, they went to that extreme. Mm-hmm. Shit. So it's kind of crazy.
They threw at us eggs, salsa, hot water, their dogs.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, there was I'm not going to say his name, but we know him in high school. He lived 3 houses down from me.
Yeah.
Because he lived 3 houses down from me, but to the right, like a block. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else lived 3 houses down the house from me who was a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And so we used to ride to school together. My dad would pick us up, and then sometimes his dad would pick us up. And we'd have conversations about the whole Jehovah's Witness religion. Now, I grew up in a Catholic household. Mm-hmm. But me, myself, I was never really religious, right? Yeah. I didn't consider, I consider myself a non-religious person. And he would always bring up, this friend would always bring up our people are going to be saved, and when the world's destroyed, we're going to be covered by a mantle. And to me, being a dumbass teenager, I would always be skeptical, no mames. Well, maybe that's my no manches, right? No mames. What do you mean you're going to be protected? What do you mean you guys are the chosen few? No mames, And then I would always ask him some stupid question, right? I would always be like, bro, so you mean to tell me that God's protecting you and he's not gonna let you die? Yes, we are the blah blah blah. I said, so if I come forward and I fucking put a gun in your head and I fucking blast you, is it gonna defect the bullet? I would ask stupid questions like that. And he'd be like, I don't know, man. My mom tells me that we're gonna be the, because we were fucking 12, 13. So I get you, bro. It's just.
Yeah. It's wild, the traditions, huh?
Yeah.
And how extreme we go with our Catholicism. I think it's just our culture. It's engraved in our culture to try to give us something more, but it turns out to be a negative thing in the same aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We push it to a point where it's a negative thing, where we're judging, where we're bringing down people just because they don't agree with us, or they might be a witness instead.
Yeah, but I think it's been going on for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Because it goes back to the mestizos, bro, and the whole colonization of, when the Spanish came over here.
Not even that. Even in Europe. Think about it. It goes back,
but I'm speaking about us because that's what we relate to. You know what I'm saying? Think about the conversion. That's what the conversion was. People think growing up, I remember you did I'm pretty sure you did a project. I'm pretty sure you did it. Everybody think in America, in the United States did it. Damn, somebody still brain fart. Not the churches, the missions. The missions.
Yeah.
The missions.
You choose a mission.
All the missions are going all the way up to San Francisco, right? Yeah. Starting all the way from San Diego.
Yeah.
Each mission represents.
El Camino Real or something like that. No, something like that.
No, it's San Luis Obispo. Yeah. Anyways, each mission was supposed to represent. There was a padre assigned to them, and they built a community para los natives de esa town and blah blah. But realistically, it was a spot to convert people. You know what I'm saying? People don't think of that. It was a conversion. So, anyways.
Yeah, you go to Guanajuato. There's a church in every corner.
Yeah.
That was their mission.
I was in Mexico City. Just the people to go into the basilica. And just to go up to the hill, it just gets crazy.
Yeah, religion been around for a long time, and it controls people.
Yeah.
Divide us.
Controls and
Both,
divides,
yeah. That's why it's a positive and negative, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So coming back here, you know, you obviously went through that. The change after, did you feel like kind of relieved that you didn't have to live over there because of the things you were facing and getting thrown at, literally?
Well, I was already used to it by the time we got here. That I'm like, you know, this is gonna be my life here. But once we got here and we stayed, yeah, like I didn't want to go back. You know, I'm like, you know, I was born here, and
Yeah.
But-
so.
In a sense, did it create like a hard outer shell? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I learned how to become a man over there because at 9 years old, you know, I was already working the fields with my uncles and grandparents. They
Gotcha.
put me to work right away. I was making money since I was 9 years old, doing all kinds of work in the rancho, from working the fields. When there was construction, I'd be helping them, you know, carry the bricks, mixing the cemento, all that stuff. Like I did a lot of work. Yeah.
that's
It's
crazy.
crazy because nobody, like, I grew up here, right? And I would go visit my grandpa sometimes, or my grandma. And nobody really knows how hard, like, when people say, like, la canción, sí, señor, soy de rancho, it's like they don't know, they don't understand the level of work ethic that our culture brings.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember, fool, going to fucking my grandpa telling me, "Ve dale comer los puercos." And I'm like, what the fuck you mean?
Everything over there is a job if you want to look
Exactly,
at it,
exactly.
or it's hard work.
Or have you ever, I don't know if you have, I'm sure you have, because you lived in Mexico, el maíz,
Yeah.
tienes que quitarlo de la chingadera, del husk.
Yeah.
For that shit ain't easy,
A
dog.
mano.
A mano. You're like, fuck.
Did
I
you have
don't
to-
want to make gestures, but you know what I mean.
Did you ever have to kill a chicken?
Nah,
I did.
I never had to do
My
it.
grandma, one time I was like, "You tripping?"
Yeah, nah,
Yeah.
fuck
Spinning
that.
out, like I started spinning. I was like, I ain't doing this. Hell no. Like,
Yeah, crazy shit.
Yeah, living in ranchos, when you're like 5 years old, you're out working. They put you to work.
and we think it's fun.
Yeah.
We look at it as we're having fun, getting dirty and shit. You know, it's fun.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So let me ask you about, obviously you became an illustrator, you became an artist. Where did that come from? Did that come from you moving to
No,
Mexico?
I've been drawing since I was probably 2-3 years old. We used to live in Highland Park, and my preschool, no, Head Start was right across the street from my house. And all we did there is draw, paint, all kinds of arts. And I remember when that ended, my teacher came to my house. That like is like one of the most vivid memories that I have when I was a kid. She told my mom, I was just standing there next to them. She told him, "Oh, when this kid grows up, he's gonna be an artist," and that always stuck with me. And then I go into kindergarten, and then from 1st grade to 4th grade, I was like the best artist in the school. When I was in 1st grade, my teacher would take me around to the 6th graders and show them my artwork.
Yeah.
And I'll look what this kid can do. And all the kids would be like, "Oh, damn." And then, so in the middle of being in 4th grade, that's when we were sent to Mexico. And in Mexico, since I wasn't really allowed to hang out with anyone that was not a Jehovah Witness, so my time was spent like, you know, either working or drawing.
Nice.
So I drew a lot in Mexico. So coming back when I was 16, I'm thinking, oh, you know, once we decided to stay here, I'm thinking, okay, I want to go to school to study art, some type of thing. But when I turned 19, right after high school, I got picked up by Disney, and I'm like, you know, forget school. You know, I'm at my dream job here.
Nice.
So that's what happened.
What's the how do I put this? Now, I don't want to say the mindset, but like when you're drawing, like obviously we can all grab a pencil and start drawing, but where do you get the ideas, the perfection of the drawing? You know, like the details, the small details. Where does that come from? Does that come from like an artistic side of you, or do you think it's just like the hard work you're putting in by like continuously drawing and illustrating?
I think it's a combo of both. When you're drawing something, ideas pop up. But with me, I usually get my ideas when I'm driving by myself or in the shower. When I'm alone and everything's quiet, that's when the ideas come.
Nice.
Yeah. Or, you know, we go to a lot of art shows, museums. You might pick up an idea by looking at artwork. In Mexico, what I used to do is I used to sneak into the church. like my mom never knew this. Obviously, she would probably kill me. But I used to sneak into the churches because they have artwork there.
Yeah.
And that was my museum in Mexico growing up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you do it? Did you ever do anything religious?
No.
Artistic?
And in Mexico, a lot of the stuff was just like war scenes,
Okay.
portraits, animals. Being a Jehovah Witness, all their literature, it has a lot of artwork. And actually, at one point, my goal or dream was to make it into Bethel. Bethel is a place where, that's where the Jehovah Witness headquarters is at. And they do bring in artists there to work on artwork. So that was one of my goals, to like make it there.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, oh, I want to paint for them. But all their literature has a lot of artwork. So all that artwork, I was exposed. I used to like copy them, you know. Yeah.
So a lot of your work also incorporates the culture, your Mexican culture. Is that because you kind of want to represent your life, the struggles you went to moving over there, coming back, and just everything?
Yes. The first series, called Mi Familia, is documentation of my family's migration from Mexico. So I did a lot of portraits of them, some of me in there, but mostly my parents, uncles, grandparents. Yeah.
Dope.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember growing up, I was always drawing and stuff, but I feel like I was pretty good, but I never like really pushed it. You never really, I don't know.
I know what you mean. I mean, come on. We did, I grew up in El Monte for the first half of my elementary life. I moved to Baldwin Park when I was in 5th grade. That's when me and Cisco met. But I don't know if you guys did this in your elementary. I think it's second grade. No, second grade or third grade. Diego Rivera, right? They would give us the famous picture donde está la native girl sentada con las flores. Yeah. And I remember drawing. I mean, everybody drew it, and everybody drew it to their best of their
interpretation.
Ability. Yeah. Well, but to the best of their ability, because not everybody draws. Not everybody's artistic. Some pinches flores salían, parecían vasos o platos o que sea. But anyways, yo me acuerdo que es like, oh shit, this is dope. Pero nunca le agarré la onda. I know I was very big in marble, which is, we were talking about that earlier. I love marble. And in 1992, 93, I got introduced to the marble cards. And a lot of the artists, work with marble, kind of like you working with Disney, and they draw, not knowing que son Latinos or Hispanos and stuff like that. Pero me gustaba dibujar. But one thing I used to have a problem with was hands. I could never draw hands.
Hands are hard.
Yeah.
Hands and hair.
Oh, hair. True.
Yeah, I could never. So I kind of demotivated me because, nah, I'm not an artist. I'm not like that.
It's very common.
Yeah.
Hands and hair are hard.
Hands were the hardest thing.
I think for me, also support. We didn't have like that push, like from our, I don't know if you did, but we didn't have that push I know you didn't either, from our parents to be like, go draw, it's like, go do this instead, or go outside and clean up, or go do this instead of like.
Yeah.
Now we tell kids to express themselves with art, you know what I mean? Or with music or with things like that. So I think it definitely is changing.
That I didn't have that push from my parents, but what I didn't have either was them telling me, don't do it. I remember when I was like 3, 4, they used to ask me, draw something so we can send it to your grandma in Mexico. So I would draw something and, they would send it over. But they never really encouraged me or said, here, we want you to do this. But they didn't stop me either. So, yeah.
Cool. That's crazy. So the events, how does that come about?
So I got a job at Disney when I was when I'm 19 in 93. The company holds art shows for employees. Oh. And that's where I was exposed to my first art show. Like, some of the employees were in it and they were like, oh, you need to come to the show. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, just come. I'm like, all right. So I show up and I see their artwork on the walls and a bunch of people there, and some are buying the artwork. And I'm like, dude, that thing like blew me away. So from that point on, I wanted to become a fine artist. And I started working on my realism style, and eventually I was able to participate in one of the shows, and I got good feedback, and that motivated me more. So I'm here building a portfolio because next thing I want to find a gallery and pitch my work to them. But in the meantime, I have a friend that has a studio in downtown with a bunch of graffiti artists. And then he's like, for like a year, he was like, dude, you got to come down here to meet these guys. And they're like doing shows and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I'm not ready. But then one day he tells me, Retna wants to buy your Tupac drawing. And at that time, I didn't know. I was like green as far as like the art world. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And he was a pretty well-known graffiti artist. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Tell him I want $10,000 for the drawing. That was a stupid number, obviously.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to sell it. And he's like, all right, he wants you to bring the original piece so he can look at it. I'm like, all right. So I go down there with a friend of mine. I took my portfolio, and he's like, looking over it. He's like, I think your work is fresh, but I don't have 10 grand. But I would like to put you in one of my art shows, because at that time he was curating shows. And I'm like, oh, well, you know what? I'm not ready. I have nothing framed and blah, blah, blah. He's like, it's okay. Get whatever you have, frame it, and then we'll put you in a small room. I'm like, all right. So then I had like 8 pieces, and I framed them up. So he put me in a little room, and this is January 2005, and that was my official art show, I guess, career launch. And then from that point on, just like my career took over. And then years later, I started getting a lot of people asking me for advice on how to get their work out there. A lot of friends, that have kids. Oh, my kid's an artist. Like, what should we do? Blah, blah, blah. And then people started telling me you should start curating shows. And so that's what I did. I started curating art shows and bringing my friends in there. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I got tired of doing that. And then I thought, you know what? I want to take this to the next level, maybe just create one big event where I merge music and art. And that's how El Velorio got started. I had a friend that had a bar by the Staples Center, and he was like trying to get me to do something. And then I finally went down there one time, and then I told him, well, you know what? I've had an idea of launching a Day of the Dead event. What do you think if we do it here? And he's like, dude, let's do it. So I did it. I launched El Velorio in 2010 at his lounge, and we had like 300 people. We had a DJ, face painting, food, drinks, and it was everybody had a blast. And then after that, people would ask me, are you going to do it again? And I'm like, yeah, I do want to do it, but I want to do a lot of different stuff, because I just don't want to do another Day of the Dead event.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a different nonprofit each year that has to do with the arts, so that I can benefit the nonprofit. So that's one of the components that I added to it. And it just like grew and grew.
Nice.
Yeah. It went from 300 people now to like, 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
That's dope. I'm going to go back a little bit, but just graffiti alone, that, like we never think about it, like that being a form of art. You know what I mean?
You don't.
No, but most people,
yeah.
Most people,
yeah. Because I used to do graffiti.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I wasn't super badass, but I got arrested for that when I was 13, and I served my time for that. So, but to me, graffiti was always art. And everybody used to always reference Europe.
Yeah.
All the big artists from Europe, all the big pieces from Europe, all the trains, all the fucking bombs and all that. So, I could see that. Like, to me, that's always been art. Even with my photography now, I was told, because I've done I think I've posted almost 1,900 pictures on my Instagram. And somebody told me, he's like, hey, I noticed your style. And I was like, what? You incorporate graffiti either in your model shoots or in whatever you try to capture. I was like, yeah, I love graffiti, especially when I go to downtown LA. I'm like, oh, shit. So
what's your story?
Huh?
It's your story.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my USMC tattoo, because I was in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
It's graffitied out, Nice. And everybody always gets the old English.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I want my style. And it was graffitied out.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
Yeah. My bad. This is not about me.
No, but I know. But no, that's interesting, because you're right. Like, a lot of people don't think about it. I personally, I didn't think about it, but now, I think as I've gotten older, I appreciate like murals.
Yeah.
Just in general, just the art. Like, anytime I go to a different city, like now that I travel for work, I have to go to the museums, the art museums. I have to.
Yeah.
Just to see like different pieces from different people and
local artists.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's kind of telling a story. No matter what you're doing, it's kind of telling a story, and you kind of see the perspective that they were in that moment, you know?
Yeah.
I'm getting on technical.
You're good. I was going to ask a question. I recently talked to a tattoo artist who's he's a known graffiti artist.
What's his name?
And he goes Rasker. I don't know his fuck, I would look it up. Give me 1 second. I got it right here. Anyways, they do paintings too, right? Because a lot of graffiti artists, they do like art. And they were talking about their holy grails, right? They showed me he actually went to our high school and he was like, hey, look, this is my holy grail. I was going to ask you, do you have a holy grail, like a painting that you did that you either still have or that you got rid of by selling or giving, that you're like, damn, that's my holy grail?
It's funny. I got asked that same question the other day. As far as like all the pieces that I've done, I think Frida Kahlo's, the portrait of Frida Kahlo's like one of my best pieces. Yeah.
Is there
for a lot of reasons?
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Is there a specific reason why? Like,
Well, in Mexico, she was one of my influences. You know, I dug her style and you know who she was. She was a brave lady.
she was a pioneer at that
pioneer.
time. What she was doing.
Yeah.
You know, I had a chance. Like I told you, I was in Mexico City, and going over there, I did the whole Frida Kahlo experience. You know, the museum, and got to hear her story, her style of art, her way of going out into public.
Yeah.
When the public at that time was not accepting of things like that. So, and she was definitely a pioneer, and I understand now why a lot of people look up to her and admire her.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just the art.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I took Isaac there for his 21st birthday to the Frida Kahlo Museum.
And how was that experience? It's different. Huh? Really? It motivated?
So
Actually, does that motivate you guys? Like when as artists, like seeing someone else's, you're like, damn, I'm gonna get home right now. I'm gonna try to freaking.
That's what I did with Isaac when he was little. I would take him to art shows and museums, and he would come home and draw. Like it's fuel. For sure.
Nice. His Instagram is Raskopticon. I don't know if you've seen him. The reason, if you want to take a look at the phone, he does tattoos too.
Oh,
right?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does stitching tattoos. They look like stitches.
Yeah.
Bro, that shit looks sick. Look, I'm actually working. I asked him. I don't want to go through. But look at, he turned that tattoo on the left.
Oh, it's a stitches. Oh, damn.
Stitches. It looks like a stitches.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they were telling me about how he drew this one painting that it's his holy grail. Like people have been wanting to buy it off of him, and he gave me a print. I was gonna bring to put in my background, but I was like, fuck, I forget it every time I come. And so that's why I was asking if you had a holy grail. So Frida Kahlo is your holy grail.
Yeah.
And do you still have that too? I'm sorry. I was
No,
looking.
and I did end up selling it.
Gotcha. Did that hurt?
It did. It obviously every time you make a piece and it leaves, it does hurt.
You put a little bit of yourself into it, right? Like,
well, I put in like 175 hours into that piece.
Damn.
Yeah, especially the stuff that I do takes a long time.
Yeah.
So, you obviously you get attached. The thing about me, when I started exhibiting in 2005, I didn't sell my first piece until like, I don't know, maybe 2 years after that, because I didn't want to sell anything. I was so attached to all the work. And then the graffiti artist once told me, he's like, well, as an artist, like, do you want to be an artist that's going to collect your work and then have it sitting in your home doing nothing? Or do you want your work to be out there doing its thing?
Yeah.
Because when you create a piece and if it's going to be stuck in your wall, that's not art. Art is when the viewer looks at it and the viewer has a reaction. That's the art. Yeah. So it's like, it just hit me. And I'm like, all right. So next exhibit that I did with him, I sold my first piece, which was a portrait of Che Guevara.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the first piece I sold.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope.
But if I have the opportunity to buy that Frida Kahlo back, I probably will.
Is it priceless?
To me, it is.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
What about recreation? Like recreating that? How that I can.
I think that's a hard question to ask, bro, because he's probably gonna say he could probably recreate it.
But it's
Oh
not
yeah,
the same.
I can for sure.
It's not the recreation
It's
process.
not the same.
The first. It's probably his
It's the time
the emotion.
when that happened, when I created it.
Kinda.
Yeah. I'm at a different place now. Yeah.
Crazy shit, man. No,
Yeah, like art, everything, like the form of it. It's amazing, to be honest, bro. Like I wish we were more involved in the arts, and I've brought this up like the last couple of podcasts. Like like I wish I was more exposed to art, different forms of it.
yeah,
So
crazy shit. So after Velorio, how did La Bulla come? How did that come?
So and growing up in Mexico, all we watched, in El Rancho, we have one channel, and all they show is like lucha libre movies.
the Santos.
Yeah, Santos, Blue Demon, all that stuff. Películas de rancheros, como Vicente Fernández, Mario Almada, and novelas. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
And
it.
then, there's a Calimán radio show, and that's all we had. So I grew up on that. And on top of that, my dad nicknamed me after a lucha libre, a luchador from Japan called Shibuya. So he nicknamed me Bulla.
Bulla.
So for the longest, I had an idea of launching just an art exhibit on lucha libre, and I had a schedule already at a gallery in downtown, but it ended up closing down. So then I'm like, all right, well, this is gonna have to stay on on hold. And then one of my coworkers is a writer, and he's a huge wrestling fan. So me and him started talking, and I told him about my idea. I'm like, look, dude, I have this Day of the Dead event already. Why don't you come and like look at it to see if this sparks any idea? And yes, we sat down and we said, you know what? We'll have you curate the art show, and I'll bring the wrestlers and blah, 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 all that stuff. So we launched it in 2015. Okay. There at Plaza de la Raza. And it's the same idea. We had the art show, live lucha libre, and a music part, along with the fashion show and then a car show or bike show and all that stuff. And sometimes we would screen movies as well, or documentaries that had to do with lucha libre.
Okay.
So
one of the things that I don't know if this was your intention initially, but one of the things you did is I think you're bringing the community together, the Latino, Mexican American, Chicano community together into one area to kind of watch everything about our culture. The fashion show, it's dictated on, like Latino and Chicano and all that stuff, and just the whole environment. So that's what's pretty dope. I don't know if that was the intention initially that you'd try to do, but that's what ended up happening, and it's pretty dope.
I don't think my initial intention was to create an event where brand new artists had the opportunity to showcase their stuff, from visual artists to musicians to fashion show designers. That was my real intention because, I was given the opportunity to exhibit my work, and I felt like, what, if I create an environment where I'm giving other artists opportunities, then that's my way of giving back to the community. But it's grown to become that.
Yeah. And I was going to ask about that. In the events that I've been to, you always exhibit artists' works. And I know that for La Bulla, you have the masks, right? Like the luchador masks.
Yeah.
How does that go? Like, how can somebody reach out, or how can somebody, like, if I wanted to do something like that, how does that happen?
You just ask me.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's it. Remember earlier, shoot your shot.
Yeah? Okay,
Just
cool.
just
There you
ask,
go,
bro.
guys. If you're an artist out there and you want to be showcased and you want to show your work, hit them up.
Happens a lot. A lot of times we want to do things, and all it takes is a simple question, a yes/no question to someone,
Yes.
and we never do it.
Yeah.
You just never ask. You just gotta sometimes just ask, and that's it.
And the reason I ask is because I've seen, and it's like every mask has different art. It's like, fuck, this one's dope, this is my favorite. And then you fucking walk 2 masks down, you're like, nah, this one's my favorite. And every fucking mask is your favorite, but you realize like different perspectives, different styles, different shit, and it's like, fuck, like it's dope. And I've always wondered, like, how the fuck, like, I don't draw, like I said, I don't think I'd be able to fucking compete with these people, but it's just badass because I know there's so many artists out there that want to be showcased. So
well, it's a combo of like, so like I said, the initial idea was to showcase brand new artists. That was my intention, but it's grown to where really famous artists are asking me, hey, dude, I want to be part of it, and it grown into that. So what I've done now is I I bring in a curator, and that curator is in charge of bringing like his network of artists, and most of the time it's like the established ones. So he gets that part, and then I'll bring in all the new artists. I already know a bunch of them. Sometimes I ask them if they want to participate, but for the most part, just people ask me, and you know, they can just go to the Instagram, La Bulla on Instagram. Just send me a DM and, you know, tell me. There are requirements, obviously, but you know, just say, you know, if you're interested, I take a look at your work. Sometimes the artist is very new and their work is not technically good, but I've given opportunity to some of them, and I've seen their growth. It's been pretty incredible. Like their very first piece, technically it was not done well, but they got so inspired, they went to work. So the next year, their work just got better.
Gotcha.
And they sold it.
Yeah.
So now they're in this place where, like, you know, I believe in myself.
And that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the end goal.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just hearing that they get motivated.
Yeah.
Just being showcased, they get motivated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
I mean, just being a part. Well, one of them is they're in the same area with, you know, this big artist, like a Frank Romero.
Gotcha.
Frank Romero is one of the biggest Chicano artists.
Yeah.
His work is there, and your work is right next to his. It's like, dude, like
That's
this
fucking badass.
doesn't really happen.
Eye opening, yeah.
Yeah. And
What
so,
Sorry.
no, so yeah, that's what my event provides.
Cool.
Yeah.
What is the curating process like? Because I know you said curating. I've always heard that, like especially when I my photography. There's times when I've been told, hey, you should put this in. I'm like, nah. Like, the reason I say it like that is because I started out, I was self-taught. I self-taught myself how to do photography. And I've shot, you know, like I said, I've shot some of your events, and I've shot other events, and I've done my own stuff. And then there's stuff that I shoot, and people are like, that's dope. Like, how much for that? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not selling. Like, I don't know how much to price it. And then people are like, oh, maybe this should be in a gallery. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's no, like, you know. So what is the curator? I know that when you submit things to a gallery or you're trying to exhibit something, it gets curated. What does that mean? Because that's something that I've never really understood.
Well, each gallery has like their mission, and they bring in artists that see their work fitting into their mission. So that's why they call it curated. So, for example, if you have a gallery that you like, your work might not fit in there, even if you submit it. You know, the curator is going to say, well, your work doesn't fit with our theme.
Gotcha.
So that's the curation part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I actually have a question. I was gonna ask it earlier, but it kind of fits with what you're saying. You know how you're talking about your photography, how you love doing like certain things, and then you kind of lost your passion for it when you felt you had to do certain, like shoot certain models or certain ways.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever felt that where you feel like you have to kind of throw away your creative perspective and kind of try to do something for someone else?
Well, that's when you're doing basically commission work. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Some artists, in some cases, you know, well, let's say you like this gallery, you just want to be in there. Well, if you want to be in there, you have to create work that fits their mission. Mm-hmm. So in that case, that's, you know, if you really want to be in there. But if you want to keep true to yourself, then obviously you're not going to go that route.
Yeah.
You want to do this kind of work because this is your passion and you believe in it, and that's the route you take. And maybe some gallery will pick you up. So it just depends.
What about for like working for Disney? Does that take away from your creative, like, I guess, freedom?
Well, yeah, what I do for Disney, I don't have any freedom to do what I want. It's just like, you know, this is the image, just replicate it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a job.
So there's no like, but for example, if you wanted to create something and showcase it to them, say, hey, they won't.
No, none of that. Mm-mm.
Doesn't work that way.
No. But you know what? You could look at it a positive and negative way, because you said it's a job, but at the same time, like, you feel like you know you're doing this, but you have your escape after.
Yeah.
You get to take out, you know, that frustration that I don't have this freedom here, but I can do it over here, and it makes it, personally, I feel it would make it more special for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Gotcha. Now, I know your son's here with you, and he's an artist himself. Mm-hmm.
He can paint just somewhat. he doodles here and there.
Is there competition amongst you guys?
I think so. And I think it's healthy to have that competition.
Cool.
Yeah. You know, he shows me a piece and I tell him, no, it's not good.
And is that just you really being honest, or is that just like, oh, hell no, I'm not gonna let him beat me?
Part being honest and part trying to get him to, you know, do better.
Push himself a little more.
Yeah. And he looks at my work, he criticizes it too. He's like, yeah, it's healthy to have that competition rather than always, oh, you know what, I think that's good. Because I'm going to be honest with him. You know, if I think one of his pieces is not that great, I'm going to tell him.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, you don't mean at the end of the day, you're not gonna wish him bad.
No,
you
not at
want
all.
him to definitely be better than you, because I think as a father, and I would want my kids to be better than me. You know.
Yeah.
So
of course.
But yeah, you're right. There's gonna be that competition. Like my son, he's 7 right now, but I'm sure there's gonna be a time when he's gonna challenge me, Dad. I'm the lion. I'm the lion. I'm like, wait. I'm still the fucking lion. You know what I mean? But anyways, I want to show something because I know you brought us a gift, a little vodka. Twist me. It's something
Trust
that...
me. Trust me.
Trust me. Fuck, I can't read that. I can't read, dog. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I should have read that.
But that's a good name, though. Twist
Me, right?
Twist me's a good name.
Hey, don't fucking take my Twist Me, right?
Yeah.
That's me.
This drink will get you twisted.
But he did the art for it, right?
It's
He
a
did the art
collaboration.
for the thing. Are the bottles different art? Or?
Yeah, they're both different.
Okay.
It's what do you call it, Isaac?
I mean, technically, it's kind of it's one piece, but now it's not a triptych, but it's two pieces that come into one. So the original painting was cut in half and split into two.
Okay, got it.
One bottle's organic, one bottle gluten free.
Kind of like a carousel. You're just putting them together.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm having a blank on what is called two pieces are separate. Put them together in one.
But yeah, that's what the company usually does. That they collaborate with artists and they do two pieces
Gotcha.
and they put them on their bottles.
Cool. That's cool. So thank you guys for the gift.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate that.
We'll make sure to taste it later.
I mean, I just want to pour shots right now, but
Yeah, I met the owners through a cousin of mine that knows the owners, and she's like, you know, you guys should do some stuff with your events. So they sponsored my events.
Oh, okay.
They actually sponsored the VIP Velorio.
oh, did they?
Yeah.
For
They
this
only
last year,
vodka.
right?
No, 2019.
2019.
At the
okay.
Mausoleum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I was there. I did. Chemo invited me to.
That was a good party, right?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I remember. He told me, he's like, "Hey, can you come take some?" Like he asked me personally, he's like, "Can you take some pictures of me and my wife? We're gonna be there." I think there was a lot of artists that had their own little photographers.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But then they started giving me pisto, and I was like, "Hey, bro, you want me to take pictures, or you want me to fucking? You want this just blurry or what?" But yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I like that. I like the cars outside. They had a carroza, like
Hearse.
A hearse, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to be scared to be around them.
Yeah.
Man, I'm very superstitious. You know, I grew up in a Mexican household. There was a thing called a little saying: "Never laugh as the hearse goes by, as you may be the next to die." So every time I see a hearse, I'm like, "Serio, serio."
Yeah.
And every time I pass by a cemetery, don't laugh. That's like my fucking superstitious side. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was cool, man. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then now you're doing house.
Yeah.
You're doing a whole thing about house issues and like 90s house music and how does that, was that something that you grew up on?
Yeah.
Were you part of a party crew
Yeah.
and doing all that?
I had a crew from the valley
Oh shit! What were they
called
called?
Reckless Ones.
Reckless ones. Órale.
That was a
What was the
dope time.
girl ones? There was one big one de las girls. ¿Cómo se llamaban las? Fuck.
Assignation,
No.
big
las-
one.
What did we call the girls? They were called not divas. They were called. God damn, I'm having a brain fart too. But anyways, we came into Mali. I think the party crews, because when I in '95, like I think that's the height of the house music and all
Yeah.
that shit. I was what, 11.
The Rebels.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rebels. But I kind of had an early rise to like my party career or my party life. Yeah, was because I started hanging out with older kids when I was 11. You know, I started fucking going to house parties, and so I knew a lot about that. Cisco, even though I knew him, he wasn't allowed to really go to house parties that early. But In my household, they didn't give a
Bro,
shit.
I was 11, dude. Like, he's acting like I was 11 years old. He wants me to be out partying, drinking.
Fool, I started partying with fucking 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they were into the party scene big time, and it was like I got to experience the whole deep house and the whole house music shit. So, but how you talked earlier how that's coming back.
Yeah.
How's that like? Like, what is it like reminiscent about the old times?
Let me take you back to when we came back from Mexico, because that's where it started. House music was starting. Well, house music has been around since the 70s, but in the 80s, it was pretty big. And then I got introduced to house music when we got here from Mexico. Like, I've never heard it. I'm like, dude. We used to go to Jehovah Witness parties where there was like, they were like whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't play like explicit lyric songs, and there was no alcohol, so they were like nice, but they played house music.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I fell in love with it. And I'm like 16, 17. When I turned 18, we threw a party at my house in Glendale, and cops came at 10. The party was over at 10. But we had a friend of mine that DJ'd there it was his first time DJing, and he sucked, but he made it big. Like this guy's playing for K-Rock now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and he's I've hired him to play out some of my events now, so he made it big. But that's where it got started, at the house parties with the Jehovah Witnesses, and that was my introduction to that world. And then I started hanging out with the black sheep from the congregation, and we started branching out, going out to non-Jehovah Witness house parties where they have alcohol and, the girls dressed really nice. And I just fell in love with the scene. And that's kind of like the path that took me out of the religion.
Gotcha.
Then I met his mom. I got her pregnant, and then I got thrown out. That's when I got kicked out when he was born. And that was that. And then I became a rebel, and I started my own party crew, and that's all we did. Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, we'd go out and party, get drunk,
Gotcha.
chase girls. That's all we did. It was crazy.
Did you do the dancing? Were you into
The battling.
The battling, yeah.
Not me per se,
Yeah.
but I had a friend that was a really good dancer. I actually have footage that I recorded. I was like the artist, I was the one filming and taking photos.
Gotcha.
So I have footage of like a friend of mine that used to battle. Everywhere we went, he used to battle and like kill everyone. He was a badass dancer.
Badass.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Do you know Johnny Murillo, Chicano Hollywood?
Oh yeah.
He's actually doing I don't know if I can say this, but he's doing a show on the 90s party crew scene and the household thing. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Like a show as in...
Like a documentary, I guess.
Oh, really?
Bringing back, yeah. So I don't know if he has like an app called Chicano Hollywood app.
Yeah.
So he's producing his own shows.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
And that's one of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe you could talk to him if you have footage and all that. I'm sure
Yeah,
like
I
you
do.
definitely want to.
Well,
Check
there's
that out.
several people making documentaries now. Mike Flores just released one called Welcome to the Club. I posted.
Where is it at?
I'll send you guys a link.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's just a bunch of interviews with like a lot of people that were involved in that scene during the 90s. A bunch of DJs,
Gotcha.
fashion show people. Yeah,
Okay.
it's really good.
You know what's crazy? That whole scene, people don't look at it this way, but the business side of it. Because for a while it took off as a business. People were making a lot of money
Oh yeah,
on
like
hosting
promoters.
these promoters were
Yeah.
making a lot of money hosting these events.
Well, look at John Pena. John Pena launched like Sweet Sundays. He launched that event in TJ not TJ. What is it, Isaac? You went to the other day.
Oh,
Papa's and Beer.
Rosarito, okay.
In Rosarito, yeah. And look at his events now. The Columbia Festival at the Pico Rivera Sports Arena.
It's one of the biggest
like
events.
15,000 people.
Yeah.
Another one was Bobby D as
Bobby
well.
D.
Yeah.
Look at him now.
Still producing the concerts,
selling out
concerts.
arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the promoters back then, they a lot of the positive things that came out of that is like, a lot of us became entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
We got the experience throwing parties. You have to do a lot of things, create the flyer, get your crew to go pass them out, and then pack the house and make money on, selling the tickets and selling beer.
The networking.
Yeah.
I had a job back then.
When you were 11 years old at the 16-year-old party?
Yeah, no. One of my jobs was one of my jobs.
You're holding a nose balloon
Nah,
tank.
fool, check this out. Do you know how you're talking about flyers, right? You have to go pass out flyers.
Yeah.
Another job was to go and get the flyers from the opposite crews and throw them away.
Yeah, that too.
Because
Really?
yeah, you would get money from the promoter for how many flyers did you get from the opposite crew? Fuck all these. Toma, go get me some more. Because that meant that their shit was not out there.
Yeah, it's not being promoted,
Our
yeah.
shit is out there. You know what I'm saying? And that was a job. So thank you guys. Thank you promoters for fucking. But yeah, it was crazy, man. That was a crazy scene. Again, we only experienced. We were little
The
to
tail end of
experience
it.
the full blown
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
But like obviously in our time, it was the car scene and the breakers. Remember, we were trying to be breakers. Me and him, we had a little breakers. Remember, we tried
Yeah,
to
the
be.
break, yeah.
We had a little breaker crew supposedly.
Yeah.
But we sucked. And then the dance crews came out. Remember, in the late '90s, early 2000s, the dance crew started coming out. So I think that transitioned from there.
Yeah.
And I know with the house stuff, with the house scene, it went from like deep house, hard house, some other house. There was like so many houses that they went.
Progressive.
Yeah.
Trance.
So it's crazy shit.
But you know, it's crazy that even just the scenes alone, and we could talk about the house scene, but how it translates to society. Because how did it translate to high school? We had the rebels, you know, and the styles, the dressing of it, you know, the way we dressed.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how scenes like that dictate, you know, like everyday life as well.
Yeah. And ran out the cuss. The cuss.
What?
The
cuss?
Sikima cuss.
Oh, the Edgars?
Edgar's. I live in Redlands, right?
Yeah.
So there's no malls out there. The nearest mall is in Riverside.
Uh-huh.
And they have a San Bernardino mall, but it's not that good. And I have teenage daughters now, right? So they're in that. One's a freshman, one's a eighth grader. And we came to see my mom. She lives down the street. And my nieces were there too. They're 16 and another one's 14. Hey, let's go to the mall. Took them to the mall. I had not seen such a concentration of Edgars, bro. Fucking West Covina Mall.
Yeah.
There's like a fucking group of Edgars there, a fucking group of Edgars there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So it tripped me
You know
out.
what he's talking about, Isaac?
It's those bowl cut.
Yeah.
weird-
That shit
it's-
tripped me out. I was like,
I know.
holy shit.
but
like,
but it's dictated by what's going on right now with
yeah,
everything.
you're right.
Yeah.
There's different, you know,
That shit was
like
trippy.
go back.
And my daughter's like, oh, blushing. Oh my God. I was like, the fuck, back in the day, it was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyways,
Yeah.
different lifestyles, different
Nah,
eras.
no, it all translates because things are coming back, like everything, like you said. Like
Yeah.
kids are dressing 90s now, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the loose fitting jeans. And
Yeah.
It's a cycle, bro. We're gonna have it. He's bringing back the house thing, so
Yeah.
it's gonna pop off again.
Yeah, but I don't know about that. No, I think
We
some
might
of
be a
us are
little too old.
Yeah,
Too-
so we're gonna show up and we're gonna start popping fucking knees and elbows and shit's gonna not be working.
It's
So.
like, hey.
I saw that video. I think Concrete Live was promoting your event.
yeah.
And he did that fucking video. It was like, hey, fool, I'm sad, fool. That shit was fucking hilarious. No, that shit was funny.
It's
And we
funny.
shot at Concrete.
It's funny because it hits home.
Yeah,
It takes
no.
you back.
Nah, fool. Fuck that.
Are you guys having Concrete and Valentino here?
Shit, if they want to come on, shit, come on. I mean,
you should.
open invite. Yeah.
He opened his birria spot right here too, not too far
Ooh.
from here. Concrete.
Oh, did he
You got
really?
a spot?
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Where?
Yeah, it's called Taco Superior, I think. It's right here, like
No way.
6
Oh,
minutes away.
I thought he was working with them, but that's his
Oh, he's
spot?
working. Well, I don't know if he's working with them or not, but I always see him putting promos
Yeah,
on it.
I think he's like a brand ambassador.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like, damn. Fucking,
Oh,
yeah, Birria is bomb. So,
yeah.
anyways, Concrete, Valentino, you guys want to come? Fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, he's the one that told me you need to take house issues to the Yost in Orange County. He's the one that made that connection.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, let's do it. So it was.
You actually
a lot
got
of
it
fun.
coming up next month too, right?
Yeah, February 19th at the Mayan.
Okay. In
Downtown
downtown LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a pretty big venue, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it was a very famous venue in the 90s. You know, that's where we used to go to play dance salsa.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. It used to be like a salsa club.
Yeah.
I've never been to that. Orange County never
It
partied
was
over
like the biggest salsa club like in downtown LA,
Yeah.
one the LA area.
Yeah.
there. Orale. Okay.
So it's just an event venue now. It's not a club anymore.
It is a club, yeah.
Okay, they're
yeah,
still
they're
doing it?
still going
Oh.
on. Yeah.
Damn, I just haven't seen it. in a while.
They actually also throw another lucha libre event called Lucha Vavoom. Yeah, you
Oh,
guys should
yeah,
check it out.
I heard of that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the one where, was it Azteca? Oh, he was a reigning champion for a while.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He looked pretty dope. He looked like Tinieblas, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Pero se llamaba Azteca something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got La Bulla, El Velorio, house issues. Is there anything in the works right now that you're trying to get out there?
Anything new, like that's fresh?
No, that's it. It's like when I started at Velorio, I was doing that once a year, and that takes up a lot of time. They actually, from 2015 to 2017, I was doing 4 events a year, which was El Velorio, La Bulla, LA Story, which was a lowrider show, which I did at Mola. You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
And Tatuaje, which was an all tattoo event. So I was doing those 4 big events a year, and I was like, dude, I almost died.
Yeah.
So now, if I do take on other projects, they're smaller. So I I am working with 2 partners to do a monthly house issues event at a club, but it's small. Okay. And we are working on some other stuff that I can't talk on it, but that's about it. But as far as big events, I think I'm going to keep it at that. Velorio, La Bulla, and house issues once a year.
It lets you really focus on them instead of kind of splitting your time between them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your career at Disney. We're watching the documentary, and you can find it on Disney Plus, guys, if you guys want to check it out. How that department, you've been there 30 years, you said?
It's going on 30 years.
30 years. Yeah. How has that changed? Because we've seen the evolution of the movie, industry from going from, like pen to animation to now like Pixar, for example. How's that transition been for you being there and watching it grow?
It's been pretty insane, for one. I got hired without having any art education and no high school diploma. So I was probably the only artist in the entire company that entered that area with no experience. So that's number one. And then number 2, I was one of the last persons hired in 93, 94. And I outlasted everyone. So I'm the only one still left in there from that original crew. We have 3 other employees, but they were hired recently. So I'm the last one standing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been pretty insane.
That's dope.
To watch all that, and to be a part of it.
That's crazy.
Cool.
Is there a secret sauce to why you've outlasted everybody?
Well, one of them, I think, was because when I started working there, my boss was like, you know what, I want you to learn how to do this. So I started off as an inker. That's, inking the outline of the character. And then she's like, I want you to learn how to paint. So I learned how to paint. And then she's like, I want you to learn how to paint the maquettes, the statues. So I learned how to do that. And then at one point, the person that was doing the airbrushing, she was about to retire. And she sent about 15 of us to school to learn how to airbrush. And out of those 15, they picked me to take over that department.
That's badass.
And then later she's like, I want you to learn how to operate the Xerox camera. Xerox camera is a big thing that they use to transfer some of the lines onto the cells. They created it specifically for 101 Dalmatians. And I learned how to operate that and a bunch of other stuff. So I think when layoff started, I think they kept me because I knew how to do all these things.
You're a jack of all trades, yeah. You knew a little bit of you knew everything.
Yeah. And there was at one point that were, people that had been there longer than me got laid off instead of me. Well, because they were only inkers or they were only painters. I knew how to do pretty much everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And at this point, I know how to do every single thing there is to know or that we do in our department. Yeah. So I think that was one of them. And maybe luck. I don't know.
So a lot of the stuff that you worked on, I mean, I'm pretty sure it has, but I'm asking the movies that we've seen, a lot of the cartoons that we've seen growing up, you've had a part in it.
No. So what we do in my department, we get scenes from all these movies and we reproduce them.
Okay.
And it's become fine art. So for example, we pick a scene from Snow White and we make 250 pieces of that scene. And these are sold as fine art to employees. Yeah. Okay. At some point, some of that artwork was sold at Sotheby's. At one point, this was available all over the world in galleries and museums. But then it started shrinking. So now for the past, I want to say 12 years maybe, 98% of the stuff that we make is only sold to employees.
Why is
That's
that?
fine art.
Why is that? They're just trying to keep it limited?
Well, one of them, the the market was like at one point saturated,
Okay.
so we weren't selling our stuff.
Okay.
So we started a program where we're only going to sell 250 pieces to employees, and that's kept us alive.
Oh, okay.
During the years, we have participated in other projects, and some big projects. Like I've inked and painted 2 sets of stamps for the post office.
Okay.
So I've had the honor to participate in some of those projects, and other projects where our work, we created 20 pieces that were exhibited in museums all over the world.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Are the employees allowed to resell their stuff?
You are allowed after 5 years. So you buy it and then you can sell it after 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can find some on eBay. I actually found some the other day.
That you worked on and you're like, oh shit.
I have probably had my hands on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any of that artwork that you've seen come out of our department since 1993, I might have had a hand on them.
Oh shit. Okay. I do. I sometimes go and buy collectibles. Sometimes I go to like yard sales or like at state sales and stuff like that. So I'm gonna look out for that because
You find those things out there, huh?
yeah, I find things like that. But sometimes like the pricing's outrageous. It's like
Oh yeah.
no manches. They're trying to eye gouge you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna look out for that now that I know.
And now you know that they're limited.
Limited, yeah.
250 pieces.
Yeah,
And
because sometimes I find little statues that meant to Disney. I found the little snow globes from like the 80s. With like the Jiminy Cricket and Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. So I usually find stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for that shit.
Yeah, they've also included our department in the credits of the movies. Like a lot of people ask me, "Oh, what you do for the movie?" I really didn't do anything. We created some of the fine art, but as far as like working on the movie, we didn't.
Gotcha.
But you'll see my name on the credits since Tangled On.
Okay.
You'll see Isaac's name on some of the movies because he was there for like 3 years as well.
Oh, okay. Dope.
Until he blew up as an artist. He's like, dude, I'm out of here.
I'm out here.
Okay.
He's like, I don't want to work for anyone. On Frozen, you'll see my name on the credits, Isaac's name, and my daughter's name.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
Yeah.
She draws too?
No, what they do is whatever babies are born during the production of that
Oh,
film,
that's dope.
Oh.
they'll include them in the credits. They call them
cool.
production babies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Did
dope.
not know that shit.
She can look back like 50 years from now and be like,
Yeah.
That's
one of the biggest movies out there for kids,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Cool. We're gonna move on to the No Manches segment. As we talked about that earlier.
I got one. I'll start it off.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
He was talking about earlier how, like, being a witness. I don't know where it came from, but no manches. Our parents, well, I don't know if your household did it, but my mom was always like, when Jehovah Witnesses would come and knock, escóndanse. Everybody get down, like, hide, like, pretend we're not home. Like, why? Like, where did that come from? Like, why do that? Like,
I don't think that's from Jehovah Witnesses. I don't think that's from a religion perspective.
no, but like our parents, why
I'll
do
tell
that?
You why? I'll tell you why. I'm pretty sure when your mom came here, she was illegal.
Yeah.
My parents were illegal for a long time. Who came knocking? La migra way. So it wasn't the Jehovah Witnesses. It wasn't the Mormons. It wasn't the other religions. It was that escóndanse. And then you peek out because you want to make sure there's no la migra. La migra coming to get you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Maybe, but
That's, at least that's my.
because my mom would be like, no, we gotta pretend we're not home. Like
Yeah.
what?
But
Like,
they know you're home because you're fucking.
but
opening the little
but
fucking-
like, they don't have X-ray vision. Like,
No, but you can
like,
tell because you can
why-
get everybody in the front.
yeah, but why get down? Like,
No, say
maybe you're right. Maybe it was the immigration thing.
I don't know about that. That's like hit the ground. I would see if it was drive-bys and shit. But hit the ground. Get
So
behind.
that's just the much. Some of the things we just, I don't know where it comes from and why do them.
That's a crazy cultural thing.
Well, that sparked up a memory of No Manches.
Yeah.
So, and it goes back to being a Jehovah's Witness. We would see this a lot when we would go knock on people's doors. The parents would send out their kid to tell them that they weren't there, but they would tell us, "Oh, dice mi mamá que no está aquí."
That's fucking funny. Yeah, like, okay.
You'd be like, what?
Dile a tu mamá que okay.
Yeah.
Mamá.
So there's my no manches.
Okay, there you go. See?
When the parents
Story.
adopt the kids.
Don't send your kids to vouch for you. Damn, I didn't even think of it much when I just threw me off. You threw me off, but I'm gonna have to go with. Let me see. I'm gonna say, I guess, when you go to the stores, like when you try on clothes, you know, do people fucking like when they try out like I saw like those one pieces that women wear. One day I was walking at the store and I was like, oh shit, let me see this and
That was a one-piece suit for you or
well,
what?
no, for the women.
I was like,
And me dijeron, don't seas cochino. And I was like, why? It's like, because muchachos se lo ponen and they don't, they just put them back on the rack. No manches. Are people allowed to do that? Like to wear intimate shit? Like,
you try on jeans, don't you?
yeah, but I got underwear, fool. Esta madre está
Hey,
pegada, güey.
hey, not everybody washes their underwear, dog. You know,
That's
like
true, that's
there's
true.
people that are dirty there's people that don't even fucking wear underwear that you probably don't know about. That
Is
fucking
that a thing
toilet.
too? I read that
so.
women don't like to wear underwear when they go to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I read. I don't know. That's crazy.
Going commando to go to bed, that's like
But
For me,
man,
that's
fool,
a-
when you go to the gym, fool,
whatever.
what if
But
se te rompe?
but there's probably people that, like I tell you, they probably try on clothes and they're going commando.
That's crazy. I don't know. I guess it's just me. I guess I don't try on clothes like that anymore. But I'm the type
How do you
that
try them on or what?
I fucking buy it, take it home. If it don't fit, return it.
True.
That's the way I
You
do
kind
it.
of already know your size and stuff. Huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
True.
Although I've been going to different sizes now. I've been slimming
Weight
down a little
weight
bit.
loss journey.
Yeah, I've been slimming down a little bit. So, anyways, my no manches of the day, I guess.
Not being dirty trying on clothes.
No, don't be cochino. Don't be fucking wearing clothes.
Or like shoes, bro. Have you ever had seen people when they try on shoes with no socks on?
Yeah.
It's like
That's pretty gross.
Yeah.
why? Like you know you're gonna go try on shoes. Fucking wear some socks and shit.
Yeah, or they wear the socks that are tienen los hoyitos. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, come on, no mames.
Yeah.
Fucking words of wisdom. We're gonna get to the last segment. Words of wisdom. This is, like we said, where you talk about something, you say something that you live by, that you want the viewers to live by or use in their daily life.
I've always lived by, and I learned this from being in the entrepreneurial world. It's better to prevent a mess rather than trying to clean it up. So I kind of always live by that rule. And I apply it in my business, and I've always I've tried to apply it in my business. Obviously at some point I didn't, and the lesson was there. So, and I'm going through that right now with house issues, and I'm not going to talk details, but I'm trying to apply that to prevent a mess.
Gotcha.
So I try to live by those words.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like when he said that, the term that came to mind is lo barato cuesta caro. In a sense, it's it's like si no planeas, if he doesn't prevent.
Don't be loose about your things.
Yeah. That shit will come back and bite you.
Remember, I've been telling you lately, don't do things just to do them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So good words to live by. Where can people find you? What?
Man, I'm all over the place. But if you want to look at my artwork, Instagram, Antonio Pelayo. I have a website, antoniopelayo.com. For my events, Instagram, Antonio Pelayo Productions. And each event has its own handle, El Velorio, La Bulla, House Issues. But mainly Instagram. I'm trying to get into Twitter. They say it's kind of hot right now. So I'm like, all right, I'll add this to it. We actually just finished the House Issues website last night.
Oh shit!
So my friend of mine was like, you got to open up a Twitter for House Issues. So I just opened it last night. Okay. Yeah. So.
Okay.
And there's an event coming up next month, so make sure you guys check it out. February 19th, right?
February 19th at the Mayan.
Okay.
We have a bunch of DJs. We're gonna have house music from the 90s, rock en español, flashbacks, a little hip hop, cumbia, salsa, merengue.
Nice. We'll try to check that one out. Yeah.
You guys something on
There's
the 18th,
something.
right?
Oh, the gala.
The gala, yeah. Are you part of that?
The Chicano Elegance
The
gala?
Chicano Elegance gala?
Who's throwing this?
It's a mixture. It's Chicano Elegance, and it's a collaboration with Chicano Hollywood.
Oh,
and a couple of
yes,
different
yes,
people.
yes. Alicia Del Valle is
Yes.
hosting it. Elvira Zamora is part of the fashion show. I actually donated a couple of my pieces.
Oh, shit,
nice.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
She invited me, but I'm like, I think I have to be at the Mayan.
Prepping
But
for the.
but I'll see.
Okay.
Nice.
So you guys are a part of that?
We're gonna go.
We're gonna.
You're going?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be there.
You know, before we leave, I had seen something. Were you guys working like on a movie?
Yeah, I'm making a Lucha Libre movie.
Oh,
And
nice.
He's the lead actor.
Oh,
nice.
shit. Okay.
So the production company is expanding now just to also movies.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that also came about from doing La Bulla and El Velorio. My art dealer has always been a film director, writer. He said, "You represent me," like in 2006. And then we lost contact for a little bit because he closed down his gallery. But then years later, we reconnected, and I invited him to one of the shows.
Yeah.
He came to La Bulla and El Velorio, and he was like blown away. And then that sparked the idea of like, let's make a movie
Yeah.
inspired by all this. So I'm like, I'm down. I'm like, I've never made a movie, but you just, teach me.
Yeah,
So I'm one of the producers.
Oh
Nice.
shit. That's
Is there any
fucking
details you give it? Do you guys have like a date, or is it finished?
Well, we're trying to finish it now. It's been so hard because, it's an independent film. So all it is like a bunch of friends, in it. No one's getting paid. So it's been difficult to get everyone to the filming and all that stuff. The goal is to finish it, to release it at La Bulla in August.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So that's the goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you need a luchador,
I'll put a mask on. No, I was gonna say that's pretty dope because it also reminded me growing up in our time was backyard wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's still big now, but back
was
then
still
it was
big.
like, fuck it, it was crazy. So I think you fucking did backyard wrestling. No, you did a
well, that's why I
match.
got messed up knees now. Nah,
So that's crazy, man. Congrats to that, and
Yeah.
we look forward to that.
Yeah.
We want to say thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the gifts, and hopefully in the future we have your son Isaac in the show, and he could tell us his story, and he could tell us a little bit about his competition with you. So, but thank you again. Thank you for driving on a Sunday, and we look forward to your future events.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And make sure you guys check out their artwork. It's freaking dope.
And
I've
their
seen
events.
it. Yeah, and their events.
I fucking guarantee you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, you probably see us there. So,
Awesome.
alrighty. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thanks.
Thank you.